This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Sexual assault charges. A Dartmouth man faces dozens of offences following an investigation into historical sexual assaults at the Nova Scotia Youth Centre.
Halifax housing. Construction hits record levels, but challenges remain.
And keeping the art of rug hooking alive. A community worries about what will happen to their treasured tradition.
Increasing clouds across the province tonight and a few showers working their way in across the region for Thursday and Friday. Your full forecast is coming up.
It is a case of abuse that spans nearly 3 decades. Now a Dartmouth man is facing 66 sex-related charges involving at least 30 alleged victims. But police believe there are more than 300 young people were assaulted, and even more may have not yet come forward.
The charges come after a 4-year investigation into allegations of sexual assaults, all at a provincial youth correctional facility in Waterville. Richard Cuthbertson has our top story tonight.
This instructor held a position of authority, and the young people he victimized should have been able to trust him and feel safe with him.
A momentary pause of emotion that told the story of a massive investigation.
Through Operation Headwind, we learned that the swim instructor at the Nova Scotia Youth Centre sexually assaulted over 300 young people between the ages of 12 and 18 over almost a 30-year period.
The Nova Scotia Youth Centre, also known as the Youth Jail in Waterville. On Sunday, the arrest of 75-year-old Dartmouth resident Donald Douglas Williams, the swim instructor from 1988 until 2017, released on conditions pending a court appearance next week, facing 66 charges related to 30 alleged victims. The allegations not yet tested in court. When asked if other workers at Waterville knew something bad was going on, Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon said this.
The investigation is ongoing, and all complaints that we receive related to the youth center are being thoroughly and completely investigated. I can't really comment further than that about the details.
Who in authority knew what, when they knew it, and what they did about it is a key question in a class action lawsuit filed a number of years ago here at Nova Scotia Supreme Court in Halifax. It alleges that sexual abuse and misconduct perpetrated by the swim instructor was reported, but that no effective action was taken.
You know, I don't want to speculate on why other staff members didn't action complaints that were made to them contemporaneously. It's troubling. I'm sure they're sitting with it today. I'm sure there's dozens of people who are looking in the mirror and saying, like, geez, maybe there was something I could have done better. Maybe I should have believed those children when they came to me with this stuff.
The lawyer says he and the Nova Scotia government are in settlement negotiations. In a statement, Justice Minister Becky Drouin said she recognizes the courage of survivors to come forward. She said when allegations were brought to the attention of the department, it immediately reported them to RCMP.
I don't know, grossed me out, actually.
Ganem Harb is one of those involved in the class action, but not in the RCMP investigation. He says he was touched while swimming.
That's supposed to be a place where we're supposed to be rehabilitated, not ruined. And that's exactly what it did. It just ruined a bunch of us.
Others may have come forward at the time, but Ganem Harb says he told no one.
I never even told my parents. Like, this is just coming out. This is all new to them even. I never told anybody. I just sucked it up and just lived with it,
The former swim instructor will be back in court on September 26th. Richard Cuthbertson, CBC News, Dartmouth.
This just in minutes ago, both the DAL Faculty Association and the board have ratified the collective agreement, bringing an end to the labor disruption on campus. 95.7% of those who voted did so in favor of ratifying the agreement. Highlights of the deal, the 3-year deal, include salary increases of 3.25% for the first year, with a total of 10% over the life of the contract. 16 limited-term positions converted to tenure or career stream positions, and each faculty will develop workload policies. Members will return to work tomorrow, and classes will resume on September 23rd.
A man has been arrested and charged after 6 cases of anti-Semitic graffiti were found in Halifax over the weekend. 2 Halifax synagogues were vandalized with hateful messages. The graffiti was discovered on 3 buildings and nearby sidewalks on Sunday morning. Gazim Topali was arrested at his residence in Halifax yesterday. The 31-year-old is facing 3 charges of property damage and 3 charges of mischief related to religious property. He's also charged with 1 count of public incitement of hatred.
Halifax is seeing record levels of apartment construction, according to a recent report from the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. But as Andrew Lamb tells us, there continue to be challenges with building new housing supply.
The number of Halifax housing units that started construction has slowed down in the first half of the year. That's according to a report from the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. This follows 2 years of record construction activity in the city.
This was due to the fact that developers were facing geopolitical and economic uncertainty, and also some reported lengthy approval times.
Indoro says some developers may have delayed projects in hopes of lower interest rates. At the same time, Halifax is seeing record levels of multi-unit rental apartment construction. More than 10,000 units were being built in Halifax as of June. But the report says new construction of housing, like single-family and semi-detached homes, has fallen.
When people are unable to move from rental housing into home ownership because home ownership has become unaffordable, it keeps rent prices growing. It keeps vacancy rates in rentals low.
Nova Scotia's Construction Association says labor shortages are another issue that's not improving.
We're not training enough people. We are still trying to adjust for decades of high unemployment in Nova Scotia, and our training regime simply hasn't caught up yet.
Those labor shortages have put a number of projects on hold in Halifax, according to the report. Williams says the federal government needs to allow more people with trades experience to immigrate to Canada.
Without that, we are going to continue to see a chronic shortage in our workforce, which will impede the speed at which we can build.
The CMHC says the number of housing starts in Atlantic Canada is expected to remain high in 2025 and 2026. Andrew Lamb, CBC News, Halifax.
And Ryan Snoddon joins us now to talk weather.
It sounds like a few showers on the way.
Yeah, some showers in the mix, at least for Thursday and Thursday night. And again on Friday. In fact, unfortunately, they're really not going to amount to a whole lot. As you can see with the forecast, temperatures still going to be quite warm on Thursday. Low to pushing up towards the mid-20s, a couple of 24s on the board, especially across northern parts of the province. And those showers will be definitely in the mix, at least for Thursday morning in through the west. And then that chance for showers will migrate eastward throughout the day. But there's really not a lot of precipitation with this first wave coming through. Cold front is going to follow on Friday. A couple of spotty showers with this as well, especially for Cape Breton and eastern areas for Friday into Friday night. Chance for showers lingering for Cape Breton on Saturday. A cool down across the entire province. It'll feel like fall. All the details coming up in a few minutes.
All right, stay tuned for that. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Police in Cape Breton are sending a message to seniors about a kit that could save their life. It's called the Vial of Life. And the CBC's Kyle Moore is here to explain.
For 50 years, Barry Gordon has been a police officer in Cape Breton. He is trained to help people in difficult situations like many other first responders. Now retired, he's helping in a different way, specifically seniors.
And we know with seniors, most accidents happen around the home. Just simple things. Hey, and last year in Canada, there was 1 million seniors treated at emergency outlets across the country for falls.
Gordon says when it comes to emergency situations, some people simply lack information. Lori Ross is part of a group of seniors that are learning about the Vial of Life. It's a kit that consists of 2 decals and 1 medical information form.
This vial, we're going to fill out the information. We're going to there's a sticker inside. We're going to take the sticker, put it on the fridge.
Gordon says those simple steps could save lives. In fact, he says his stats show the kits have already helped seniors across the country.
Seconds and minutes are huge when you're responding to an emergency. So if you go in a house and you're trying to find out some information on this person and they're unconscious, this vial, the sticker on the fridge, gives us access right away to get a little bit of history of the person.
Ross says today's session has left her feeling more at ease.
They'll know that all the information is in there, and they'll know to get a hold of my spouse or my sister or another relative.
Gordon says it's all about education and getting the message out, something he plans to do across the municipality in the coming weeks. Kyle Moore, CBC News, Glace Bay.
The union for most Halifax firefighters says it has lost faith in its leadership. The Halifax Professional Firefighters Association has raised concerns around training and staffing issues in recent months. Now it says managers have shown a pattern of retaliation against vocal union members, including disciplining firefighters who testified at recent arbitration. It also says multiple incidents of racist, misogynistic, and homophobic behavior from managers went unaddressed. The union president says Chief Ken Stubing and senior managers should be removed.
We think that the public should be made aware, and that we'd like to see people reach out and express concerns that they expect a fire service that treats people with respect. Firefighters risk their lives for people they don't know. They deserve to be treated well in the workplace, and we expect that as well, and we're not going to take it anymore.
CBC asked to speak with Chief Stubing, but he was not made available. The city's Commissioner of Public Safety has been asked to review the union's concerns, and that process is underway.
A former Nova Scotia senator and the first black man appointed to the Senate of Canada has died. Donald Oliver was born in Wolfville and worked as a lawyer until he was named a senator in 1990. He served in the Senate for 23 years, championing issues of diversity, equity, and human rights before retiring in 2013. He was also one of the founding members of the Black Cultural Centre for Nova Scotia. Oliver died on Wednesday morning. He was 86 years old.
Rug hooking in Sept has been passed down for generations. But as time passes, the community is worrying about what will happen to their treasured tradition.
With a new program, they are hoping to keep the art alive. Anna Rack has the story.
In the art of rug hooking, wool is pulled through the holes in a burlap sheet. The end result is an intricate rug, and they sell for thousands of dollars. In Sept, they have their own style of rug hooking. They use 2-ply, 100% wool yarn for an even more detailed rug. And there are 144 loops per square inch.
It is part of us here in Sept. It's part of who we are, our culture, that it was taught from mother to daughter, and it's part of our history.
The rug hooking community is mainly older women, and Cormier worries what will become of the craft if younger generations don't pick it up. She's trying to keep it alive by planning a mentorship program for people wanting to learn.
When I was growing up, there were several hundreds hooking at the same time in the community. We will never see that again. You know, I'm not, those are the facts, right? To this day, I can count 54 that are still rug hooking.
If the program receives enough funding, it will run in December or January. The mentorship will teach students not only the art of hooking a rug, but hook making, wool dyeing, and rug design, with mentors that have mastered the craft.
We've had a few people come in, they were shy, they were not sure, that they didn't know if they could make it, and by the end of it, they were so relaxed and enjoyed it so much, and now they're coming here to join the gang.
One of the younger generation rug hookers is Tyler Lorad. He works at Les Trois Pignons, a cultural center and hooked rug gallery in Sept. Some of his own pieces hang in the gallery. He enjoys hooking landscapes and portraits of local musicians, like this one of a local fiddler, Marcel Doucet.
If more people would see it as it's not just like a hobby that retired people have or something like that, if they'd see more young people doing it, maybe more younger people would get interested in it.
He says he enjoys the physicality of rug hooking, and in the age of technology, he sees rug hooking as a way to disconnect.
More and more stuff is all online and on your phones and on computers and screens. I really like having something like physical in my hands to touch and feel and mold.
The rug hooking community is hopeful that more young people will pick up the craft. And Cormier says she's seeing interest from both complete beginners and people relearning the art. Anna Rack, CBC News, Cheticamp.
This weather update is brought to you by Access Wellness Nova Scotia. Book your appointment today for free, confidential mental wellness support.
All right, let's get to your full weather forecast now, and some showers in the mix.
That's right, and things also warming up in the tropics.
Yeah, things have been turning a little more active over the last couple of days. We've been talking about the possibility of more activity there, and certainly that's come to fruition today as we look at the tropical satellite, and we'll have a look at Gabrielle, which has now formed. Now, that said, Gabrielle is not a beautiful symmetrical storm like you would normally see in the tropics. It's kind of fighting for its life right now. It's actually towards the upper part of your screen under that banner. Strong upper level winds are really impacting the storm right now, so it's kind of fighting for its life, and that's going to be the case over the next couple of days. where it's going to be really fighting some strong upper level winds. That said, it is expected to continue as a tropical storm, working west-northwest, and then on Friday or after Friday, the strong upper level winds are expected to start to back off a little bit, and so that's when it has a greater chance of becoming a hurricane. And into the top of that cone there, or at least on the left side of the cone, you'll see Bermuda. And that's really kind of the only threat to land that this storm poses at the moment is Bermuda as we move into the early stages of next week for Monday. Beyond that, if we take the larger picture, well, you can see a lot of the forecast model guidance does have this storm recurving out to sea and a storm for the fish, as we would say. Now, that said, it is still very early stages. Lots of uncertainty in the short term means lots of uncertainty in the long term. And so obviously this is still a long way out and we will keep you posted. Closer to home, and yes, the Hawk. Beautiful spot, Clark's Harbor, and a fine evening there and across Nova Scotia right now. Temperatures in that neck of the woods near 20. Most of the province in the high teens, low 20s out there right now. 24 in Antigonish, and temperatures right near the low 20s for most of Cape Breton as well. The winds have generally been light today in from the southwest. And that's going to help to keep our temperatures a bit milder tonight than it has been over the last couple of nights. This low spinning off to our south will continue to throw some clouds into the mix and a couple of spotty showers on its northern edge. But the bulk of the system will be passing to the south, and then we're watching this cold front here and the fall air, which is working its way down into Manitoba, northwestern Ontario right now. That's going to spill in across the Great Lakes and then eventually here into the Maritimes by the time we get to Saturday. Overnight lows tonight are going to be in the 10 to 12 range. There will not be sunshine and thunderstorms in Bridgewater tonight. That's a coding error on my part there for that icon. Yeah, quiet tonight. Now as we look at the hour by hour here, you can see the clouds building in. A couple of isolated showers, certainly possible overnight, but again, no sunshine or thunderstorms in through the South Shore region. And then that chance for showers will migrate eastward into Thursday morning. And by the time we get to Thursday afternoon, we'll see that risk starting to push up towards the eastern parts of the mainland, though the greatest chances are going to be here. But you can see there's not a lot of activity here. These are going to be very spotty showers by the looks of things. The clouds will be the most dominant piece of the puzzle here that we'll see with this system working off to the south. Now, temperatures across Cape Breton tomorrow are going to be in the 20 to 23 range. Winds from the southwest sustain near 20, gusting 30 to 40 for the island. We'll see eastern parts of the mainland, temperatures into the low 20s. Isolated risk for a shower along the eastern shore into the afternoon, and an isolated risk for the north shore as well. But it looks like the further south and west you are, the greater chance you'll have. Temperatures 21 to 24 across central areas for tomorrow, and back into the west, temperatures will range between about 20 and 23 and even 24 out towards Kentville and Windsor. Now, looking ahead to Thursday night, here comes the front. West to southwest winds ahead of the front and a northwest wind behind it. We will see some showers along the front on Friday. The best chances are going to be Cape Breton and the eastern parts of the mainland. This is where we'll throw a 60% chance for some showers in, but it's just an isolated chance back here for the valley, down to the South Shore and for Yarmouth. And then that front will move through, and we are looking at lingering shower chances popping up in this cool, unstable air mass for Saturday for Cape Breton. The mainland will remain mostly sunny on Saturday, but with that northwest wind, and it does look like it will be fairly breezy on Saturday, sustained at least near 20 kilometers per hour. Temperatures are going to be right near 15 degrees. We'll see temperatures bumping up back closer to seasonal for Sunday. And then as we move into next week, we've got temperatures warming back up. Mid-20s look to be back on tap for mid-next week, Tom and Amy. But I will say this, also some pretty good model consistency that we'll see some showers in the mix again for mid-next week. So some positive signs there as well.
We're all right with that for sure. Okay, thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a look at the surprise of a lifetime some snorkelers had this weekend. They came face to face with a group of seahorses.
The small marine creatures typically live in warm tropical waters, but somehow found their way to the waters off Paddy's Head. Have a look at this.
It felt like the great seahorse migration because the more I swam, the more I found. I didn't think a snorkeler could ever see a seahorse. because they're kind of rare and they're usually very low down 20 to 30 feet, like in the bee grass. That's not some place I go. I just float on the surface. So that was a rare treat for us. I didn't think anything like what happened on Sunday could ever happen. When I saw the first one rise up out of the grass, I almost couldn't even believe my own eyes. I didn't think that was ever something I would see. And I was very puzzled about what it was doing. But I guess they have this habit in more tropical places where they're actually from of swimming up and grabbing onto floating debris in order to move to a different location. They were all very beautiful. Their eyes, every single one of them had a slightly different color eye. Just amazing to see what kind of creatures the ocean has and what kind of strange life is going on down there. It's unreal.
Yeah, great experience there. Well, with autumn just around the corner, many of us will be embracing pumpkin patches, hay rides, and if you're a fan of them, corn mazes. We want to show you a huge one on Prince Edward Island. It features many twists, turns, and a big reveal if you can find your way through it. The CBC's Cheyenne Desjardins gave it a go.
I'm at a corn maze here in Mount Herbert, and joining me to talk more about how something like this all comes together is the designer of this specific corn maze, Awesome Blossom, Sherry Reisner. Thank you so much for having us.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
So tell me, what is this corn maze all about? What does it look like?
What does it look like? Well, it's got, when you see it from up above, it's got smile with a happy face. That's actually on our wedding rings. So we thought, if we're gonna do corn maze, let's give it a little bit of tribute for that. And then, after that, we said, now what are we gonna do for the second part, right? Because we didn't wanna make it too big, right? It's the first time doing it. So he goes, land here. And I went, spaceship.
So how do you make something like this, Sherry?
Well, we just took our little lawnmower. We just planted the corn. We had our neighbor plant the corn. And when it was really, really little, we just decided what we wanted to do on paper and math.
Sherry, I'm gonna put you to the test. Where are we in this corn maze?
We are, where are we in this corn maze? I believe we are, we are on the spaceship right now.
On the spaceship?
I'm gonna challenge you to go in by yourself.
Will you come get me if I don't come out?
Just hail.
All right, I'm all geared up. Got the GoPro. We're gonna give it a whirl.
All right.
Stay to the right.
Good luck.
I will see you soon. Thank you. Really came in handy.
Yeah,
that was great tips. Yeah, and I remembered when we were at the bottom of the smiley face.
Yep.
Hit a dead end that we never hit. I don't know what happened there. I'm not sure that was also a right, so
okay. Oh,
who knows?
Okay.
Got the spaceship, but yes, that was great. Thank you so much. This is so fun. Thank you.
Coming up, we check in on the HRM real estate market as we enter what's usually the busy fall season. So we are seeing record apartment construction in the city of Halifax, still some challenges on the housing front, but maybe this is a good time to check in on the real estate market to see what any of this and all of this effect might be having on the real estate market here in Halifax. And realtor Tanya Colpo is with us again. Tanya, first of all, when you look at the housing market in Halifax as it stands today, what are your impressions?
It is an interesting market right now. I mean, we all as realtors have been talking about how unusual the spring market was, the summer market, and now into the fall market.
So what's happening?
Well, you know what? I think uncertainty is the key word of the day right now. I think that, we're finding a bit of a stall with our first-time home buyers. They are feeling anxious. I think that, between the spring election, which is unusual for us, so that definitely really has an effect on the market. And then, between that and the tariffs I hear over and over again from buyers whose industries aren't even affected by it. But I think, when you're talking about people who are 25 to 30, that kind of first home buyer age range, they haven't seen this kind of economic uncertainty in their lives versus, say, my father, who's seen it 20 times over, right? And I think that that's really making them hesitant to go for it this year.
So what gets them going? I mean, today we saw the Bank of Canada lower their interest rate by 25 basis points. What potential kind of impact might that have on the market here in Halifax?
Well, you know what? I think most agents in the city will tell you, or anywhere, that when there's a rate drop, that usually does, ignite the market a bit. So I am expecting to hear from a few people that I haven't heard from in a bit. I'm checking in on my buyers all the time, but I'm still getting that we kind of want to wait and see mentality. And it's going right across the city these days, it seems.
Given all that, is it a more balanced market? I mean, there's always that debate between whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market.
Yeah, you know what? We're still definitely a seller's market. Sorry, buyers. But the market is definitely changing. I mean, I think a lot of us as listing agents are really struggling to explain to sellers it isn't 2021, 2022 anymore, right? So we're trying to manage those expectations. But we still are seeing quite a fierce market in that first-time homebuyer price point, which is, that in between 400 and 500,000. We're still seeing competition. It's not necessarily 25 offers like it was a few years ago, but I'm shocked if a house in that price point that's in a decent location isn't still getting at least a few offers.
So what is moving? Is there anything that's catching your eye in the market? Any demographic or any price range that's moving?
Well, it's funny because even though first-time home buyers are hesitant right now, it's still the most competitive price point. So realistically speaking, in that $400,000 to $500,000 price point, I'm still expecting to competition. I'm still explaining to my buyers that they need to have patience with the process.
In terms of listings, what are you seeing? Are the numbers up there at all? Or is there much to choose from?
Well, listen, the inventory is there for sure. So it's going to be really interesting to see with the hesitancy and see how the market has, because it's been stalling a little bit over the last few months, it's going to be interesting to see if with the amount of inventory we have, it's going to just keep moving towards being a buyer's market, which we determine by months of inventory.
Well, and it's interesting because September, October is usually that fall house shopping season in Nova Scotia. It's usually a big season, isn't it?
It certainly is. And you know what? It's really interesting because it usually gears up, say, mid-September. So right now, this is when the market gears up. People are done with their summer vacations. The kids are in school. They're back to work. Everybody's ready to go. But this year, it's, I'm watching all of our realtor chats and things like that, and the amount of people going, can somebody give me some feedback as to why this beautiful house at an amazing price point hasn't sold? And we're talking about that a lot in our community, that you just, I'm definitely more, instead of telling my sellers to necessarily, price competitively or whatever else, we're more right now geared towards telling our sellers to price at what they want to get, because we're really not sure what kind of competition they're going to be getting these days, even with a good listing price.
And so when you look at affordability, you're trying to help new people, first-time home buyers, get into the market. In terms of affordability, what are you seeing there? I mean, obviously you say some of those buyers are apprehensive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think one of the big things is that buyers, especially the ones that have been looking for 6 months a year, they're tired of feeling like they have to accept everything that the sellers are willing to offer and nothing more to get the house that they want. I'm finding that people are especially those first timers, they're more interested and more firm on their location, and they want better. They don't want this take it or leave it attitude of we're not going to paint the house before we're list. We're not going to do any of this stuff we used to. I'm finding my buyers are pushing back more on inspections now, and just really realizing that that seller's market is changing, and that they feel that they have more rights and that they're going to express those and get what they want, and I love it.
Okay, we'll see where the rest of the market goes the rest of the year. Thank you for your time today.
Always a pleasure, Tom.
Coming up, U.S. President Donald Trump was greeted with pomp and pageantry during his second state visit to Windsor Castle.
And as we mentioned, the Bank of Canada lowered its key interest rate by 25 basis points as the central bank moves to stimulate a weakened economy. Welcome back. U.S. President Donald Trump is in Britain for a two-day state visit, a historic event that began with a full schedule of royal splendor, pomp, pageantry, and gold in the company of King Charles and Queen Camilla.
All behind the walls of one of their castles and far from the crowd of anti-Trump protesters. Briar Stewart has details from Windsor, England.
It was billed as an unprecedented second state visit, and the royal welcome and ensuing pageantry played out largely away from the public, behind the fortress-like walls of Windsor Castle. This was the first time that a world leader has been given a second state visit. Royal carriages were part of a clear charm offensive to try and appease the U.S. president, who seems bent on upending foreign policy. Trump and the First Lady were shown items from the royal collection that speak to the UK and US relationship. In the afternoon, they got a tour of St. George's Chapel before they laid a wreath at the tomb of Queen Elizabeth II. After a ceremony featuring military bands from both countries, there was a brief flypast by the British Red Arrows. Streams of red, white, and blue marked the sky. Then the group was treated to a lavish banquet.
The ocean may still divide us, but in so many other ways, we are now the closest of kin.
This is truly one of the highest honors of my life.
Some on the street turned up to support Trump.
He said he will make America great. In fact, he's doing it.
Others wanted the president to know he's not welcome in the UK. Tim Miles turned up with a handful of flags to make it clear that he doesn't like how Trump is treating countries that are supposed to be allies.
He can screw up his own country if he wants to, I suppose, but he shouldn't be interfering in anybody else's.
Donald Trump, you can't hide! In London, thousands marched this afternoon to deliver the same message, protesting Trump and the UK government's efforts to host him. While security was stepped up for the visit, a group managed to project images of Trump and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein on the walls of the castle just hours before the official welcome. On Thursday, Trump will meet the UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and among other things, they will talk about a deal which will see US tech companies invest tens of billions of dollars in Britain's artificial intelligence and computing industry. And then there'll be part of this visit which will be less choreographed. Both Trump and Starmer will take questions from the press. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Windsor, England.
FBI Director Kash Patel once again defended his handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. He faced a second day of tough questions from U.S. lawmakers over promises about transparency surrounding the late sex offender's criminal case. Karina Roman has the latest from Washington.
FBI Director Kash Patel faced a second day of grilling on Capitol Hill, following his claims yesterday before a Senate committee that there was no credible information that convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein trafficked women and underage girls to others. Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee were having none of that. Patel was asked over
the Hill and testified that they were groomed and they called to meet with the president and to meet with the FBI and to have people investigate their claims. Some of them have never testified before. If you are so interested in getting the public to submit any information, why have you not met with them? You said you haven't met with them. Have you met with them? I'll give you one more chance.
My job as the FBI director is to invite all investigative
yes or no
leads
to whether or not you met with these women who were sexually abused and raped?
Patel was also pushed on avenues of investigation critics argue the FBI has not pursued and should. For example, following the money. There are reports of millions of dollars in money transfers to finance Epstein's trafficking. Who is behind those? And in addition to urging the FBI to interview the victims, another Democratic congressman made this suggestion.
Are there any photos showing Donald Trump with girls of an uncertain age?
No.
How do you know that?
Because that information would have been brought to light by multiple administrations and FBI investigators over the course of the last 20 years.
The fact that the Epstein story won't go away here in Washington is significant. Patel is one of many from Trump's circle who were very vocal in the past couple of years that there was a cover-up of the Epstein files by the Democrats. Now the shoe is on the other foot, and Democrats are happy to point out the change coincides with the revelation that Trump's name is in the files. And for conservatives and and MAGA supporters who have long called for more transparency on this, this is the one story that is not sitting well with them. Karina Roman, CBC News, Washington.
Ottawa is joining a chorus of condemnation of Israel, calling its ground offensive in Gaza City horrific and suggesting it violates international law. Israel launched the new military action against Hamas on Tuesday. Local health officials say at least 50 people were killed Wednesday across the Gaza Strip. Sasha Petrovic has more.
We're standing on the border with Gaza, and as this ground offensive gathers steam, we are seeing smoke rising. We're hearing artillery here, and of course there have been many airstrikes over the past several days, increasing all the time. We're also hearing that in Gaza City itself, internet and phone service has been cut off. The military has been moving closer and closer into the center of Gaza City, the most populous part of the Strip, with some 600,000 people believed to be still there, most of those civilians, although Israel says there are also Hamas fighters among them. Israel has opened a second route, a temporary one, for people trying to flee, but it is only going to be open for 2 days, and all of these routes are absolutely jammed. Now, all of this has been denounced internationally. The EU is on the verge of imposing new sanctions. These are expected to be trade sanctions primarily, although they have also said that they are going to sanction a number of the extremist members of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's cabinet, as well as violent settlers. A number of countries, such as Germany and Spain, have already introduced their own sanctions on Israel. As a result of all of this, Netanyahu has said that he sees an Israel in the future that is going to be more and more isolated and has to act on its own.
So we are going to produce an independent arms industry, very powerful, very strong, that can withstand any kind of international political constraints and will provide security for the state of Israel.
He has pulled back some of those comments in the past 24 hours because of reaction from the business community. They see Israel suffering. The stock market reacted badly to his comments. The business community saying that Netanyahu's policies are marching Israel toward an economic abyss. Still, those are continuing. The military operations behind me are also continuing. In fact, if anything, they're intensifying. Sasha Petrovic, CBC News, on the border with Gaza.
The Bank of Canada has lowered its key interest rate by a quarter point to 2.5%. Governor Tiff Macklem says that while the threat of inflation has eased, the U.S. trade uncertainty and tariffs are affecting the Canadian economic outlook. Nisha Patel reports.
The Bank of Canada is cutting its key interest rate for the first time in 6 months.
There was a clear sense that the balance of risk has shifted.
The benchmark rate is now 25 basis points lower, sitting at 2.5%. The central bank says the threat of inflation has eased, with the overall rate hitting 1.9% last month. But the trade war with the U.S. is weighing on the economy.
Certainly when you talk to businesses, they're telling us they're facing a host of new costs related to trade disruption. They're trying to change their supply chains, they're finding new suppliers, they're trying to develop new markets.
With steep tariffs on autos, steel, and aluminum, exports and business investment have fallen. Since the trade war started, this Ontario manufacturing company says sales are down 25%.
I think the industry in general is hurting pretty bad. The manufacturing in Canada has really no good stories to tell at this point.
Those sectors most exposed to trade are shedding jobs, helping drive Canada's unemployment rate up to 7.1%. A resolution to the uncertainty could be a long way off.
The bottom line is we should still expect some economic weakness in the quarters ahead, but it might be coming from different sources. And the Bank of Canada's view is it probably isn't a recession and it's probably just sluggish growth.
So lower interest rates will make it cheaper for businesses and consumers to borrow money and perhaps give the economy a bit of a boost.
The central bank says there are still considerable risks to the economy and it plans to proceed carefully for any future interest rate decisions. Many economists expect at least one interest rate cut by the end of the year. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
Most of us across the country were feeling the heat this summer, but while super hot days are relaxing for some, they can be risky for others. And now a new report suggests almost everyone on the planet was feeling the effects of climate change. The CBC's science and climate reporter Anand Ram has more.
The U.S.-based nonprofit Climate Central crunched data for almost 1,000 cities around the world and found that nearly 1 billion people, mostly in Asia, experienced 30 or more risky heat days this summer.
We defined risky heat as being heat that is hotter than 90% of the temperatures you typically experience in your local area. So that looks different if you're sitting in Toronto than it does if you're sitting in San Diego or Los Angeles.
And that's important because the risks of health issues, even death, are different depending on the environment that you're used to. And so when it's hotter than it typically is 90% of the time, that's a better indicator of risk. According to the analysis, Canada, from June through August of this year, on average saw 39 risky heat days. 2 of those weeks, Climate Central says, is directly attributable to human-caused climate change.
We expect June, July, August to be the times of year when people experience these risky heat days. Some of that is natural, but climate change is loading the dice.
The big message here is clear. Climate change is reshaping the odds of daily weather in Canada, and people feel it most directly through extreme heat.
And some feel it more than others. People who are older, people who have underlying health issues like cardiovascular issues or diabetes, or children, the heat can be far more intense, even kill. We saw that in 2021, where more than 600 people died in British Columbia when a heat dome parked over the region. But risk, experts say, goes beyond people's health.
What is their ability to adapt in this situation? And that includes having air conditioning, having a job where even if they're in the heat, are able to get out of the heat through policies that protect outdoor workers. Thinking about your social capital. So what's your community that you can rely on when it is hot, if you do get into a dangerous situation?
And experts say this is part of a feedback loop. Hotter days means more drought conditions. More drought conditions leads to drier fuel that make wildfires spread. And spreading wildfires increases emissions that adds to global warming, which raises the chances of hotter days. So the heat that Canadians and the world felt this summer could have effects for years to come. Anand Ram, CBC News, Toronto.
This weather update is brought to you by Access Wellness Nova Scotia. Book your appointment today for free, confidential mental wellness support.
All right, it's viewer picture time on the show. Wonder where we're going tonight.
I know, we are all over the province in some beautiful photos.
Yeah, but you know what? Back-to-back nights, we're going to double dip in Cape Breton.
Okay, why not?
Awesome.
Yeah, of all places, it's one of the best to double dip. As you can see here, we're just outside Inverness. This is Broad Cove Banks. And this, a fantastic shot from Francis McDonald.
He always has such a good eye, right?
Yeah, absolutely terrific. Ryan's picks at cbc.ca. There's been so many great pictures coming in. It is really, really hard to choose just one here every night, but we appreciate everybody contributing. For tomorrow, we're looking at temperatures in the low to pushing up towards the mid-20s. The valley up towards Windsor, Truro, and around Cobequid Bay. Those will be our best chances of cracking 24 degrees. We'll see southwest winds a little bit breezier towards the North Shore and also Cape Breton. Southwest winds 20 gusting to 30 or 40 kilometers per hour there. The clouds certainly thickening up tonight, but as you can see with the green indicating rain, there is not a lot of moisture to come with this system. Some spotty showers throughout the day on Thursday. And then that front will come through. Not a lot of precip with that either. That, though, will usher in some pretty fall-like air for Saturday, mid-teen temperatures. Rebounding next week, but more showers on tap.
All right, thanks for that, Ryan. Well, getting swallowed up by the earth must feel like your worst nightmare coming true.
Thanks.
Wow. Yeah, well, I was right. This happened in Mexico City. A sinkhole opened up under a soda delivery truck.
As residents watched, the truck's own weight caused it to sink further in. They say initial reports suggest a very old underground drainage system may have collapsed.
Thankfully, local officials say no one was injured.
Yeah, that could have been a lot worse for sure.
Yeah.
That's it for us tonight. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.